We are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first session of day 2 of the E-commerce Growth Summit. I am here with Kyle Roof from High Voltage SEO Agency. I've got quite a long introduction, so I hope you'll bear with me, but this guy deserves all the credit he is due. So Kyle is responsible for the development and implementation of all SEO techniques used by High Voltage SEO Agency and PageOptimizer Pro SEO tool. Kyle is also the co-founder of Internet Marketing Gold, a global community of 3,000 plus SEO professionals who test and prove cutting-edge SEO techniques. Kyle is also the co-host of SEO Fight Club, a weekly YouTube show that covers a multitude of SEO topics. By the way, you should check it out. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. Kyle's SEO techniques and discoveries are followed by many SEO professionals and business leaders. He has been featured in many respected publications and is a regular speaker on SEO and SEO testing at conferences throughout the world, like this one. Kyle will be speaking about advanced interlinking and using semantic terms. Kyle, good to have you here, and the stage is yours.
Many thanks. I'm going to click to share my screen. Will you let me know if you can see my slides?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Are we good?
Yes, perfect.
All right, rock on. Here we go.
Good.
All right, thanks for having me. So advanced interlinking and using semantic terms. So I'm Kyle Roof. As mentioned, I'm the lead SEO for High Voltage. I'm the inventor of PageOptimizer Pro and the co-founder of Internet Marketing Gold, a place where we run a lot of tests on Google's algorithm. But I'm most famous for Rhinoplasty Plano. Rhinoplasty Plano was a competition in 2018. It was a public competition from SEO Signals Lab, which is an SEO group in Facebook. And it had, at that time, about 40,000 people. And this was open to everyone in the group to rank a website for the term Rhinoplasty Plano. Rhinoplasty is a nose job. Plano is just outside of Dallas, Texas. And the terms of the competition were you had to use a brand new domain, so you couldn't have anything established, and you had 30 days. After that, you could do whatever you'd like. And the site that was ranked the highest after 30 days was the winner. And so I entered with 27 other professionals that felt that they knew what they were doing. And at the end of the 30 days, I took 5th. And that's my site, rhinoplastyplano.co. You can see 30 days is a sprint, and nobody really lit the world on fire. The site that won was there at 82. I was at 97. About 2 weeks later, though, and I didn't do anything to my site after the competition ended, but about 2 weeks later, I went to number 7 in organic and number 1 in maps. And about 2 weeks after that, I went to number 1 organic, where I stayed, and I, for a while, actually took over the map, and I became the knowledge graph. So I was Rhinoplasty Plano. And this time, people really started to lose their minds. And you might say, well, good for you, Kyle. You did a good site. But the reason that people lost their minds is because I built the site entirely in lorem ipsum. And what I did is I did the math for how many times I need to use my exact keyword, Rhinoplasty Plano, its variations and contextual terms, and then I copied and pasted those terms into the lorem ipsum in very specific places a very specific amount of times. A lot of fun. So you can actually see in this, it's Latin, 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 Latin nose job, Latin, Latin patience, Latin, Latin cosmetic. So the terms, its variations, and the exact keyword into the lorem ipsum, and this page then ranks number 1 for the term in organic as well as in the maps. A few weeks later, Search Engine Journal happened. Google ranks site written in Latin. It was written by this guy named Roger Monti. He did not contact me. He didn't ask me anything about this. And he said that I did this to make fun of Google, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. I did this to make fun of people like Roger Monti, who said that all you need to do is write good content. And keep in mind, you do need to write good content. You need to convert. You need to get people to, when people come to your site, they need to like what you're doing on your site. But when it comes to rank, that's a whole other thing. Ranking isn't good content because Google's algorithm is an algorithm, and the algorithm needs math. And if you give the algorithm the math that it wants, it doesn't matter what else is on the page. And that's the point that I was trying to make. Anyway, about 6 hours later, Google de-indexed my site. And you can see there they marked it pure spam, which I guess is fair play. But that night from 1:15 a.m. to 1:27 a.m., Google de-indexed 20 of my test sites. They had nothing to do with the competition site. They were just sites that I used because I run tests on Google's algorithm. In the last 4 years, I've done more than 400 tests on Google's algorithm, and these are the sites that I use, and Google took them down. while it wasn't a lot of fun at the time, what I realized is it completely validated everything that I was saying. If I was talking nonsense or if I got lucky, Google would have rolled their eyes and moved on. But because they took down my site, and not only that, went after me personally and took down test sites, it was showing that I was actually demonstrating how the algorithm actually works. And it doesn't quite end there. I was going through the Google guidelines, and I saw this text that makes no sense to the reader, but which may contain keywords. This is on the no-no list. This is on the naughty list on things you're not allowed to do. And number one here is this rule: text that makes no sense to the reader, but which may contain search keywords. And I was like, when did that rule go into place? Because I know that wasn't the rule when I did this competition. So I took the URL to the guidelines and I put it into the Wayback Machine. And you can see from 2018, there's from February, which is before the competition, and then July 17th, which is just after the competition. If you look in February 25th, the rule's not there. But then July 17th, just 6 days after the competition, once my site went public and people could see what it is, the rule was there. So Google wrote a new rule. And essentially, Google changed the rules. And then they punished me for the new rules. The best part about this, it's not Google's job to help you convert. If you write a page that your readers don't understand, that's a you problem. It's not within the guidelines. It's not Google's job to help you to write better copy. So it wasn't necessarily the content. It was that doing it this way shows how the algorithm works. And Google clearly cared about that. And if they thought that they could dissuade me from continuing to test and continuing to figure out how the algorithm works, they're sadly mistaken, because it actually only encouraged me more. And so what we're going to talk about today are the results of the tests that I continue to do, the things that I do to figure out how the algorithm works. And what I'm going to share with you today is how things work. And we're going to talk about advanced interlinking and also semantic terms, how to make pages that are connected to each other, or the content on the page is connected to your primary keyword. And I hope you enjoy what we've got. Some basics before we go, just so that we're all on the same page, and maybe you're new to SEO, maybe not, but just so that we're all on the same page about what we're talking about. There are 3 types of important terms for a web page. If your primary keyword, this is the keyword that you know. This is the thing you're trying to rank for. This is the term that you know it has the most search volume. It's also the most competitive. All your competitors know this term. This is the main thing that you're trying to go after. The next thing are the helpers. These are variations in secondary terms. Variations are very close synonyms to your primary keyword, and we get these from Google. The classic example is lawyer and attorney. They're the same term. They're interchangeable. It's an extremely close variation, a close synonym of the term. But something else that would count as a variation is part of a phrase. Let's say you're trying to rank for best purple frisbee. Best would be a variation, and purple would be a variation. You're not trying to rank for these terms. In that example, best purple frisbee, you're not trying to rank for purple necessarily, but it's important to get that term on the phrase because it is critically important to your primary keyword. Secondary keywords are usually long tail variations of your primary keyword, and you can get these from related searches and Google Trends. If you optimize for a primary keyword, if you do that successfully, you will win your secondary keywords, and you can see that in Search Console. If you look at a page in Search Console that you're targeting for a certain keyword, it'll rank for hundreds or thousands of terms, and many of those are not on the page. And the reason that you're winning those is because they're secondaries of your primary. Last thing are contextual terms. These provide context and meaning. The clue is in the name. In the industry, these are labeled as LSI, and old school SEOs really hate that term, and they're right. It's a lazy term, but it's what the industry calls it, and they're just going to have to get over themselves. But LSI are things you need to take into consideration to put them on your page so Google understands what your page is about. If you were to remove the primary keywords, the secondary keywords, and stop words, what's you're left there, the most common terms are probably your contextual terms. Those are the 3 types of important terms on the page. Now, where can we put them? I've got these broken up into 4 groups for you in terms of strength. So group A, these are the most important places. These are the strongest places on a page. This is your meta title or page title. That's the title that search engines see. Your H1, that's the title that humans see. Body content would be your paragraph text and URL. Those are the strongest places to put your primary keyword, your helpers, and your contextual terms. Group B, these are strong, but not quite as strong, but they're still very important. These are your H2s, H3s, H4s, and anchor text. That's clickable text that's on the page. Group C, these are less strong, but they still have a little bit. Bold, italic, image alt fall into that. category. And the group B, these are their own category because they're things that people don't see. Schema, that explains to search engines what things are. Open Graph, that's actually code that Facebook uses in order to properly present your page, but Google also crawls it. And HTML tags, those are the bones of a web page. This is not an exhaustive list, but if you have something in your mind like, what about this tag, or what about that thing, or what about this perhaps signal, you can probably figure out where it goes and where its strength might be. Most important is A, or the strongest, B, C, and then D is kind of a separate thing because they're not seen by humans. All right, to the good stuff, semantically related pages. And we're going to talk about, you can do that, you can create these pages that will rank for a lot of keywords because the content is semantically related by using your subheadings. Now, if you recall just from the slide above, you know, the subheadings are group B. What about group A? And the things that group A is really for your primary keyword. If you put your primary keyword in your meta title, your page title, and the body content, and your URL, for a lot of terms, that's probably all you need. That's a dirty secret in SEO where things look mystical and magical. But if you were to put your exact keyword in those 4 places for a lot of terms, you've done most of the heavy lifting right there. When things become more competitive, and you also want to then expand your SEO so that you can rank for more and more keywords, now we need to really focus on those subheadings, those different sections we're going to use on our web page, and that's where your H2s and H3s come in. And that's what's going to help you create pages that are semantically related to your primary keyword. So it all starts with group B. So what do you use for your subheadings? What are the actual words, and then what's the format of the page? If we start with format, you really want your page to follow a Roman numeral outline. And it looks like this. Your Roman numeral 1, that's your H1. That's the title of your page. Your A in the Roman numeral outline is your H2. And then underneath that, that could be H3s if you need, but that's also paragraph text, lists, and tables. And again, then you would cycle back through, and your next section would then be an H2, following the Roman numeral outline. You can see if you follow this outline, it would be absurd to put your H1 below any of those H2s. You want that at the top, and you only want one of them because you only have one title. You only have one Roman numeral 1 in an outline. You only need one title per page. You only want one H1 on your page, and you want to follow this particular format. So choosing your subheadings, we want to start with related searches for our primary keyword. And so we're going to use an example, boat insurance. So if you were to do the search, boat insurance, and scroll to the bottom of the SERPs, you see the section called related searches. That's what we're going to use for our subheadings. This is the example. And for this particular search, you can see boat insurance calculator, boat insurance quotes, cheapest boat insurance coverage, etc. From here, choose your lead subheading from the first group. This is the one that you like the most. The direction you want to take the page. It could also be the one with the most search volume or the least amount of competition. Those are good ways to do it. Or just the direction that you want to take this particular page. When you're talking about boat insurance, what would you like to write about? Determine your lead subheading. Which one do you like the most that would be your first subheading on the page? From there, click that subheading and it does another search for that. Scroll to the bottom and we're going to compare the 2 lists. The original list from the primary keyword against the list from the lead H2, and we're going to match them up. We're going to match those 2 lists up and find related searches that match between the 2 lists. So in this example, excuse me, let's take a boat insurance calculator and cheapest boat insurance. Let's say I like both of those. Now I want to kind of compare them and see which one maybe I want to go with for the page that I'm going to write about boat insurance. Boat insurance calculator, I do the search, I scroll to the bottom. There are 3 matches. Boat insurance quote, what does boat insurance cover? That's that coverage term, and boat insurance requirements. There is cost, and I did highlight that because you could go cost, money, and then get to cheap or cheapest. I think that's a stretch. I wouldn't do it, but there are 3 strong matches. Cheapest boat insurance, there are 2 matches. You have boat insurance quote and best boat insurance. There's nothing about a calculator in here. But regardless of which way you go, there's no wrong answer. You just need to choose one or the other. And when you choose that you stay with the subheadings so that you are as closely semantically related as possible with those matches. So if you did calculator as the lead, what you would end up with is quote, requirements, and coverage as your other H2s on the page. You could go with cheap with that cost term, but I personally wouldn't. If you go with cheapest as the lead, you're going to have quote and best as 2 of your H2s. There are no calculator terms. In this example, calculator would then become its own page. So let's look at how this Roman numeral outline would shape up. Boat insurance, that's my H1, that's my primary keyword. Boat insurance calculator, that's my lead H2. That's the one that I like. And then from that, I get these other H2s for this section, for this page, and I'm going to write about insurance quotes, requirements for insurance, and what does boat insurance cover. Now, I want to go one step farther because I need to fill in those sections. Remember, in that Roman numeral outline, we had the Roman numeral 1, we had the A, and then there was that little a for things underneath that. We need to put stuff there. Google will give that to us, and it'll also then be completely semantically related. So if I did boat insurance calculator as a lead in the boat insurance quote section, I'm going to do boat insurance quote. I'm going to find 3 that I like here. And again, there's a little bit of overlap. Remember we had cheapest as an original option. It's here. That's okay. I'm going to do cheapest boat insurance, best boat insurance, and custom boat insurance. This is going to go into text areas. So now my outline looks like this. I've got my B with the insurance quotes. This is what I'm going to talk about in that area. I'm going to talk about cheapest insurance, best insurance, and custom insurance. And I got those from Google, and that's the content that I'm going to write for this particular section. And you want to do the related search for each section to completely fill out your outline. So it'll look like this. The boat insurance, we know that the insurance quotes we just did, but then requirements for insurance by state, province, or region. When I did that related search, all of those were region related. They were location related. So I'm going to have to talk about locations there. What does boat insurance cover? Coverage questions was an actual term that showed up in the related searches. So I didn't make that up. That's a term that exists in Google, as is claims advice. All of the ones, all the stuff that would fill in that area comes from related searches. None of that is off the top of my head. That is actually what Google sees as related to those things. What I've got here in this outline is something that's semantically related. There's no magic. I picked a lead, I matched up the 2 lists, and then I followed Google, and now I've got an outline that will create perhaps the most semantically related page possible, and this page will rank for the most amount of keywords that I can get out of boat insurance. One small note, when you do click around a lot, you'll see some turns shift lists just a little bit. That's okay. Don't get lost in the weeds. If that happens, don't sweat it. Go with your gut on that. You will probably see that a little bit as you click around. Don't worry about it. It's going to be okay. I've seen some people stress about it. Don't stress about it. You'll be just fine. All right, interlinking, the virtual silo. You want to interlink because you can pass power and relevancy with your own site. You can also raise the trust and authority of your own site with your own pages. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but your site is probably weaker than you think. And the reason is the concept of a natural tier versus your SEO boost. The natural tier is the amount of traffic that Google will trust your site with just out of the gate. You've seen this before. You built a page, you kind of did some minimal SEO, you launch it, and you're just instantly on page 3 or page 2 or page 1, really without doing any SEO. And you're like, I'm crushing it, world. I'm the greatest SEO of all time. And then you launch another page with a very similar keyword, and that page just doesn't do anything. And you're like, what is the difference between the two? The difference probably is Google, that first keyword was in your natural tier. Google trusts you for that term, so you don't really have to do SEO. You launch the page, it goes up, and you just rank for it without doing any SEO because Google naturally trusts you for it. The other one, Google doesn't. So in order for you to move that page up, you're going to have to get SEO boosts, and that would be your on-page SEO, building backlinks, your off-page SEO, any signals, those are boosts. Now, while Google can give boosts, Google can take them away. What happens when Google does an update and then all of a sudden pages drop? They didn't get slapped by Google. What happened is a boost was removed and that page, that site just moved down to its natural tier. So it's important to understand what your natural tier is and then continue to raise your natural tier. A lot of people focus just on boost. They focus on that on-page optimization. They focus on the backlink building. And they might have a site that's completely propped up by boost. So if the algorithm changes and that one thing that they were really doing well with gets taken away, you see the site just crash. And that's because it's just crashing back to its natural tier. So it's very important to continue to raise your natural tier, and you can do that by using a silo. Real quick on how to create an effective virtual silo. A virtual silo is created by links within the body. A physical silo, which you can have, and you can have on top of this, is created by URL structure. And if you use WordPress or a regular kind of CMS, they naturally build physical silos for you through URL structure. I'm talking about these are going to be links that connect pages together by links within the body. So It's also important to note that silo pages in this example, for this particular concept, they only live to serve one target page. There's a link at the top of the silo page to that target page, one or two links from that silo page to other silo pages that are within the same silo, and no other links that are in the body. And from the target page, we're going to try to link into one of its silo posts, one of its supporting posts. And these are not a physical silo, so they can live anywhere on the site. They can be pages, they can be posts, it doesn't matter. This is what it looks like. My target page, that's what I want to rank. These are my supporting pages. The arrows are links between them. These are the only links that they have within the body. Don't worry about your header, your sidebar, your footer, that doesn't matter. We're just looking at this link relationship with links within the body, and these are the only links that exist. You might be saying, I already silo my pages, and I say this with love. No, you don't. And I know that because I've been teaching this for years, and a lot of people think that they know what they're doing with this, but they're really not. This is a very specific thing they're using to help target pages. Does your silo page link to only one target page? And I can hear you say, well, no, but then you're not doing it. Does your silo page only link out to one or two other silo pages and no other pages? And I feel like, well, no, it doesn't, but you didn't do it. You must answer yes to both of these questions. A couple important points. Not every page on your site must be a silo page. There's great reasons to link to multiple target pages or multiple silo pages, but that's not the type of silo that I'm talking about here. Also, not every target page needs a silo. If you've got a big e-commerce site, it's impractical to do this for every target page, but there will be some that you want to do it on, and you should. The ones that are most important for you, the ones you need to push up, the ones that are bringing you the most ROI, these are the ones that you would build out this type of silo structure for. Now, which terms to use for your supporting pages, and you can decide this by your natural tier. And you can think of this like how strong is your site or how much your authority is your site. That's your natural tier. And you can determine this by the traffic that your site is getting. Look at your low clicks. Look at a 3-month span in Search Console. Look at your low click day and your high click day. That creates your range for your natural tier. You can then go after keywords that have a monthly volume within that range. This is not my chart. This comes from Chris Carter from Serpu.com. He's an extremely smart man. And you can find this chart if you search for Chris Carter and Builder Society, ranking without resources. This is also his, so it's open to interpretation, but this will give you the idea of different levels and different ranges. So for example, let's say you were at a tier 50 to 100 on your daily clicks. That means you can go after a keyword that is 50 to 100 in its monthly volume. What that means is that's the type of keyword that Google will trust you immediately without doing any extra SEO. Simply building the page that targets that keyword and answers the question, you launch it. Almost immediately, you're going to probably be on page 2 or page 3, and probably within a short amount of time, really without doing any effort, you're going to move up to page 2, page 1. Keep in mind brand searches. When you're determining your tier, you could have a lot of boosts, you could have a lot of brand searches that might be skewing those numbers. You can test this by posting something. So if you think you're in that 50 to 100, grab a keyword with low competition, post it. You should be in the top 100 very quickly, and really probably within a month, you should be probably within pages 1 through 3. If you hit that, then that is your tier. If you don't, drop down a tier and focus on those kind of keywords. Then you want to keep posting until you naturally move up. Again, remember, your site could be propped up on boosts, so we want to raise your natural tier as you do boosts, and you should. You should be doing SEO, but you should also be mindful of what your tier is and continue to move it up as you're doing your campaigns, because if Google changes something, or let's say you lose a link naturally, link rot happens, and that boost goes away, you want to have a natural tier that's high enough so that you don't get wrecked. Your site doesn't completely fall off a cliff. It drops just a little bit. So your SEO strategy should be mindful of the boost that you're creating for target pages, target terms that are very important, but then also you should be putting effort into raising your natural tier. Continue to post within your silos, the silos we talked about that will pass relevancy, they'll pass juice. You can build links to them, they'll pass up to that target page. They're going to build a little engine of good for your target page. Additionally, they're going to help the entire site because they'll help raise up your natural tier. Continue to post until you move up a tier naturally, you get those natural clicks in, and then you can go after higher level keywords and continue to post higher and higher and higher as your clicks naturally grow based on this content. I get this all the time. So I only need 3 posts, right? Because they see this on this chart. No, it just looks nice because it fits within this slide. You need to keep posting until you move up. That's really the idea. So keep posting within silos. 3 is not the magic number. This is just an example based on this slide and how it looks. Here's a quick example. This is a site that I'm doing no SEO on. I'm simply posting within the natural tier. It's a brand new site. It's in a very competitive niche. And we started posting right there like 8.7 or so. And you can see how the impressions have moved. This site has no SEO done to it. It's simply posting content within the correct tier. And it's starting at 0 because it's a brand new site. And now this site, without doing any SEO at all, is ranking for many keywords. These pages are indexing and ranking and getting exposure in Google. This is ideal. Without doing any SEO at all, the site can move on its own. So, quick summary. When we talk about semantic terms, let Google show you how to write semantically connected pages. Google will do it for you. There's no magic. Choose your lead and then follow that along and match those related searches lists together, and you can create a page that is so strong and will rank for so many keywords. Then also designate pages for virtual silos to support those semantically target pages, the semantically related target pages. You built them out. You spent the time to do that semantic research so it can rank for a lot. Now support it and support it with that virtual silo. The keywords you use for those silo pages should be within your natural tier because you want to get clicks naturally without doing SEO so that you can continue to move up your site's natural tier. Keep posting in your silos until you move up. If you do the lessons in this Webby, you're going to have better ranking websites, I promise. You're going to rank for more keywords, you're going to get more impressions, you're going to get more clicks, and if you've done things right, those three things, keywords, impressions, and clicks, that leads to more traffic, that leads to more sales, and you will have better sites. And you can see too, these are all deceptively simple concepts. It's not rocket science, but it does require going in and being diligent with it. And once you do that, you will have much better websites, you will have better SEO, and you can really crush your competition. All right, thanks so much. That's what I've got. I think I'm right at my time. So you can catch me at Internet Marketing Gold or PageOptimizer.pro. And yeah, thanks so much.
Great presentation. Thank you, Kyle. Thanks a lot. I saw that we have a question right now. If anybody else wants to ask Kyle a question, this is your chance. So I'm going to read the question out loud. It's from Silvio. Thank you for the question, Silvio. Let's say you have 10 or more pages on customer retention. Pages like what is CR, customer retention strategies, how to improve customer retention, and so on. How should this cluster of pages be linked if you want to rank with all of them? Should you build more pages to support these ones, or only linking between them is enough to increase the natural tier and make Google see you as a relevant site for the topic? So quite a lot.
So you want to decide what is a target page, but what I mean by target page is something that you really want to show in the SERPs, and it's also something that's going to bring you ROI. So it's not just those other pages like supporting pages. They're great to show up because they will get traffic, but they're not really necessarily bringing sales. Right? They're not going to lead towards exactly what you're doing. So you want to pick and choose which of these things are the things that will actually create a sale. That's a target page. That's a money page, might be a term that you like. Those are the ones then I would then fashion my silos out of. So perhaps CR strategies might be the one, but how to improve customer retention, that might be a supporting page because it's not necessarily something that's going to lead to a sale of your product or your service. So you want to decide which of those is the target page. Like that's ultimately what I want to show in the SERPs or what I want people to get to. And I'm going to then interlink other things that exist as my supporting pages and link up to that.
And I would elaborate on this a little bit. Thank you for the answer. I think it's much clearer now. How commercial would you go with this target page?
Your target page can be anything. What's great is that the supporting pages, you do want to post within your natural tier because they'll rank quickly and then they'll gain clicks and they'll move your site up naturally. But your target page, you can do your SEO boost to it, so you can go as big as you want, and as commercial as you want. That's totally fine because your strategy should be to rank for what you need to rank for. And so you're going to do your on page and your off page, and that's what you're going to focus on those target pages. But at the same time, that's when you want to get those natural tier pages, the supporting pages going. They're going to support your target page. You can build links into them so you can pass juice because you have the link structure set up correctly. And then they'll raise your site while you're also doing SEO to raise your target page.
Awesome. Sounds good. And one other thing in connection to this, we are actively trying in OmniConvert to do something like this, to have let's say guides, full guides to different concepts in digital marketing and retention, stuff like that. One of the challenges that we have is, do we want to tie all of these pages together as one guide, or do we just want all of them to link directly to the target page?
Right. So in those situations, how is your target page performing? If it's performing well, then that's not really anything you need to worry about too much. But if you need to boost it, like if you need to move it up, you can use those internal pages for that purpose. And then I would designate them. Now, people really get in the weeds on not every page needs to go into a silo. So you could have 10 pages and they're all pretty close to each other. Maybe only 3 are actually in a silo. You specifically designate these are the ones that are going to support that target page. And then maybe these 2 are doing that and maybe the other ones aren't. But you want to be conscious of choosing very specific pages to support very specific target pages. Oh, yeah. And I think so. It doesn't matter kind of what's going on, and they can also all be within a physical silo too. This can kind of overlay on top of any site structure you have because you're doing these links within the body. All
right, cool. Thank you. Thanks for the explanations. We do have one more question from Alexandra. Thank you, Alexandra. Kyle, so you say that keywords should be correlated with the funnel stage.
What is the funnel stage? What does that mean?
I suppose that it's where users are in your acquisition funnel, in your conversion funnel. So let's say that you're trying to get people to convert to some product that you have. Yeah. And I think Alexandra's question is if keywords should be correlated with where they are in their customer journey.
Sure. I mean, if that's a page that you need to show up in the SERPs, you want it to show for a specific keyword, then yeah, absolutely. If it's something where it's just an internal page and it doesn't matter, you don't need it to show up in Google, then don't waste your time on this. Make sure that the effort you're putting in is for something you're really trying to show up. Your perfect customer is sitting at a computer and they're typing something, and this is the page you want to show. That's when you want to do these types of things.
All right. Okay, cool. Thank you. One more question, and then we'll really have to go to the next session. I can see. Oh, it's Ray. Thank you, Ray, for the question. Does Google ignore links that it sees as common across all pages when it's weighing the interlinked supporting pages? You're saying to have all of the supporting silo pages linked to your target page, but the target page only links back to one target page. Are all of the links in your regular menu ignored when these links are weighed? Okay, so that's a bunch of questions.
That's not one question. Right. But let me cut through some of that. Okay. When you're doing these things, because we're doing a virtual silo, we don't care about the navigation links. We don't care about let them go. That's a tricky thing to do in sites. It'll drive you mad. Don't worry about it. Just focus on the links within the body content. Those are the strongest links. And that's all that we're really worried about. The supporting pages, again, not every page on your site is going to go into a silo. We're talking about very specific pages that really only live to serve that target page. That's really what they exist for. So we don't need to link out to other things. We don't really need to worry about what's going on for the rest of these sites because they're really just there for that. So get your links within the body, point them up to the target page. Does Google ignore links as it sees as common across all pages? I mean, we're talking about 3, maybe 10. That's not enough links to worry about that Google would ignore. It's not like a site-wide footer link, for example, because we've got, let's say you had 10 silo pages. That's totally fine. That's 10 links that are going up. And with your anchors, just be descriptive. You can use the exact match if you want, but why don't you just tell people where they're going? So within the entire anchor text, you say like, you're going to click here and you're going to go and see this. That's going to be such a long anchor that you're going to get your target keyword in there. You're going to get LSI terms in there. And then you don't have to worry about Google ignoring it or seeing it as duplicate because you're just descriptive as to where someone is going.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for the explanations, for the Q&A, and for the great presentation.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot. And we'll be right back after this break. Thank you.